So, Anton, how's it going with you and your life? It's quite busy these days, I would say.
Everything's great. I'm happy to report, and yeah, it's been really busy. A lot of different things. I don't know, where do you want to start?
Well, where are you up to now? Because I mean, on your website, antonfig.com, it keeps on going. You got some new news and new albums coming out, with other products, and the projects you do with a lot of people.
Right. Well, lately I've been producing some people. I just did a new record with this guy named Joe Silva, Silva, and that record is available on iTunes. It's called Blue. And basically, the guy, he's a singer-songwriter, and he recently went through a divorce, so a lot of the songs deal with that. It's, he's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays drums, guitar, sings, and so I'm playing drums on a few cuts. He's playing drums on a few cuts. We've got a bunch of different musicians playing. But it's basically, it's a song-oriented CD. So I've been doing that. That just came out, so check that out. And I got my record, Figments, which I did a few years ago. That's also available on iTunes and on my website. And that's got a bunch of different people: Ivan Neville, Brian Wilson, Richie Havens, a whole lot of different things, different kinds of music, Ace Frehley. So, but it was a while since, for that record I had to write all the songs. On this record, for producing other people, I don't have to do the writing. I just kind of get involved in the music. So it's kind of a little different, and it's actually fun to do.
Like, as a producer, how does it look in your eyes as a drummer? When you go into that.
Well, you get, when I go and do sessions as a drummer, my main focus is on, giving the people a good drum track so they can use it. When you're a producer, the drum track is just sort of, one of the, like, say, the first thing. Basically, it's got to hold up through all the, through all the overdubs and vocals and everything, and then sort of come out good at the end of the song. But you've got to, pay attention to the whole song and the whole result. So it kind of helps your drumming, because it's sort of, it's not just about what you're playing, but it's more about like what the whole song is and what the whole song's going to do. So I feel like kind of doing production kind of helps my drumming.
And would you say, like, recording today and producing albums is getting easier than back in the 70s or 80s with equipment we've got nowadays?
Sure. Well, now, I mean, I record a lot of stuff I can do at home. Well, not at home. I go in my home studio and send the files to people. So there's definitely the technology to be able to record. The challenge is still to get the music out there. It's still hard to get promotion and get the music out there. There's so much music, get people to hear it, like it, and be interested in it. But in terms of actually making a CD, it's available to everyone now on various levels. They can make the kind of record that they want to make.
Would you say that's why one of the reasons that it's so difficult to get your music out in general, nowadays with any new artists coming out, because there's so much out there?
Yeah, well, it's hard. I mean, I guess it always was hard, but because in the old days, I guess the record companies were committing so much money to a project. Now you can kind of do a project, without that commitment and make a really nice sounding record. But that just means there's a whole lot of stuff there, and there's no really viable means for getting it out there. I mean, the record, if you were signed with a record company, that's one thing. Sometimes the record companies, if you can do enough, sort of get enough, and they will pick you up later. If you're able to, say, sell X number of CDs on your own without any kind of help, they'll be interested.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's a lot of pros because it is available to everybody now. But, I mean, I've always just been interested in making music. So just the opportunity to be able to make music and make records, that's what's interesting to me. I'm lucky because I have a really great gig playing drums on Letterman all the time, so that, provides me with a certain kind of stability, and then I can do other projects that may or may not have the same kind of financial rewards, but may have like musical rewards, so I can concentrate on doing lots of different things just for the sake of the musicality.
Anton, this is one question for you. Let's say with studio drumming and drum sounds, let's say from the 70s to 80s, did you think or do you think it's different types of microphones that does different things nowadays, because it's we're not getting the same feel in general like on new albums, or is it mastering that's changing the tones of drums?
Well, certainly, stuff used to go to tape in the old, before, and the tape provided a certain amount of compression and a certain sound. It gave a little grit to the sound, and now it's digital. So right there's a difference. A lot of people seem to favor the older gear, the older microphones and the older tube gear, but there's a lot of, outboard gear, but there's a lot of plugins that are really good, and the thing about the plugins is that you can set them exactly, and when you go back to your session, it'll come back exactly the same way. But there may be a clarity now that before it was all kind of meshed together, that, made a different kind of a sound. Also, you have limitless tracks available now, so people can do very intricate recordings. It's all about, whose hands the equipment is in. If you look at the Beatles made Sgt. Pepper on like the equivalent of a 4-track machine. Or 8-track machine or something like that. Now, people think nothing of having, 48, 64 tracks. So it certainly does influence it. It doesn't necessarily, have to influence it in a negative way, but it's like if people go in and they quantize everything and make it perfect and clean up everything and make it perfect, they're going to get a certain result. A lot of the things that are really appealing in some of the records of the of 3 decades ago is the imperfections made it so nice, because it wasn't that easy to go in and just change stuff around. So, it depends what kind of a sound you're going for. Often, people are used to like a very certain, you can often hear, I'm not sure if I want to say that, but it just depends what kind of a sound you're going for. You don't have to take all this new equipment and make everything perfect. You can use it to your advantage as well.
Anton, when's your next solo album coming out? Do you have stuff written at all for this?
I'm working on another record with this guy, but I'd rather wait until that's done before I sort of talk about it. But it's a really great young songwriter, and it's different. It's just like guitar, bass, and drums, and so it's much more sparse. But it's also fantastic songs. And I'm going to be doing another record with Joe. This first one, Blue, that just came out, we're going to do another record. And, whatever else comes up along the way. I'm always doing drum tracks for people because I have my own little studio and drums. And then I go out and I'll, play on records. I just did a bunch of Joe Bonamassa albums over the last few years. And next week I'm doing a little tour with Eric Johnson. So, there's stuff in the works, and there's all kinds of things coming out all the time.
Let's say with your discography, your total discography, did you keep track of everything they ever made?
Well, on my website, there's like a bunch of, most of it, I think. There's maybe not every single record's on there, but there's a lot of them on there. And, when I look at the whole list now, there is quite a lot of stuff, but I very rarely kind of go back. I usually am looking ahead and thinking what I have to do next week and tomorrow and all that stuff, and trying to do new stuff.
Well, it seems like you're still very, very busy man, and it's great. Keep up the great work and everything you do, because it sure shows that, you're a great drummer. Awesome work you do.
Thanks. I'm just trying to, get better with age. And, I still feel like I'm improving. I still feel like I'm learning, and I'm adding more things. I'm playing lots of drums all the time, and now I'm adding a bit of production to that. And did a little bit of writing, and it's just like kind of keep going and playing in different situations and just improving and growing all the time. That's kind of the name of the game for me.
And the word of music, that's true.
Yeah, music, keeps you young, and it's great. Music is a great force.
Well, Anton, been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks a lot. Nice to talk to you as well. Thank you for inviting me.